Welcome to Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of stopping by or coming across my YouTube channel, you are highly welcome. Please, I beg you for this favor, click on that red button that says subscribe. Beside the red button is a notification bell. Turn the bell on so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be the first person to check it out. I appreciate each and every one of you who always come back to watch my videos. Like you know, I present news on daily basis to you. So after watching the video, you are free to criticize and leave your comment constructively. Share the video. Yeah, you can share it to your family, friends, anybody that you can, so that they themselves will be informed. Now I present to you another interesting or informative video which we are going to watch together. Yeah, I'm going to watch this video together with you. Then we'll come to the comment section.
And members of the presidential guard are killed. It is a serious crisis, and the criminal elements are threatening. I mean, can you imagine the temerity to threaten that they're going to kidnap the president of the country? So it's not enough to say, oh, this is laughable. What are we doing? What is the government doing to allay the fears of Nigerians? For instance, I was traveling to Abuja last week. Quite a number of colleagues, members of my family, were wondering, what is so urgent that you are going to Abuja? Please be careful in Abuja. You only say that in a war situation. And if care is not taken, if we continue with the lackadaisical attitude of the political class, we're going to be in trouble. You can't talk of elections next year if the situation is not arrested, and not gently too. The economy is in crisis. Where are you going to get money? From what we are being told by the central bank now, where are you going to mobilize the fund, even to acquire weapons? So it is a very serious crisis that requires an emergency session of the National Assembly.
But is it really feasible to impeach the president? By the way, you said the political class, but this latest move, do you think it is actually feasible to go the whole hog to impeach the president?
You see, by virtue of section 14, subsection 2, subsection 2 of the Constitution, the welfare and security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Once the welfare of our people has been sacrificed, security is under serious threat. In fact, the National Assembly has been slow, extremely slow.
What more could they have done?
In setting an engine in motion for impeachment.
And with Chamberlain, with regards to impeachment, will the National Assembly be able to pull off what it takes, to get senators and lawmakers at the lower chamber across party lines to impeach the president?
Because everybody is under threat. You listen to them on a regular basis, including APC senators, APC members of the House of Representatives. Many of them are saying they cannot go home because their homes, their states have been taken over by terrorists. So it cuts across party lines. And the crisis in the country is a national one. And, the authorities will have to go back to the drawing table. Because we can't go on reading press statement by the presidency when Nigerians are kidnapped, or when terrorists are asking family members of abducted people to pay ransom to the tune of 100 million per person. You can't do that when there is a government in place. The payment of ransom openly, it is a confirmation of the near collapse of the government. And there should be no sentiment here. We should all be worried as a people that we never went so low. Even during the Civil War, there were areas that were well secured. But today, recently we saw the attacks on military institutions in Kaduna. And that is a fortress.
You know,
Kaduna State hosts the largest military institutions in the country.
But
the place has been conquered by terrorists. Now they have moved to Abuja.
If you look at, pardon me to jump in, if you look at how the senators went about it in the Senate, for those who thought, well, if they actually meant this, and if it was not for the optics, the president of the Senate just said there that, look, you understand the process of presenting a matter such as this one.
For sure.
But they went about it the wrong way. That's why he said, from his perspective, that he fell flat on his face, that they had passed that stage, they didn't go through the emotions and the bills. And so, on that basis alone, it was thrown out. And then they staged the walkout.
No, I want to believe that the senators who were calling for impeachment were merely warning the government. I frankly speaking, I don't think they meant it. Because what is required, and they have the number, to sign the impeachment notice. So it's not just about walking out or protesting. You have to do the right thing. But like I said, I believe they are merely warning.
So is it that they want to show their constituency that, well, we seem to be doing something?
Yeah. So hence we are talking about of 6 weeks ultimatum.
So can they pull it off? If push comes to shove.
I seriously believe we are in a serious crisis situation. And I do hope the presidency or the government will have to save the country from imminent collapse. We are moving inexorably to a precipice. There's no way you can just be issuing press statements, meaningless press statements, empty press statements, which they have become in the face of the crisis of insecurity. And I'm talking of physical insecurity. There is food insecurity in the country. There is social insecurity in the country. So it requires the meetings of all agencies of the government to address this monumental security crisis.
This touches at the very heart of an issue that Nigerians face every day. Not just in Abuja, not just in Kaduna, across the board. But just how much difference would possible impeachment of the president make? Because don't forget, and I think you have responded to the statement by the president or the president's aide saying he has done all that is at least he can do, and even more in terms of moral equipment and all.
It simply means I am tired. So what the president has said is anxious to go back home.
So what do you think a new president will do? Don't forget you've talked about how we have, paucity of funds, the dollar to naira exchange rate. So in the present situation, what can a change of power, a change of president achieve?
For me, I don't think this crisis should be narrowed down to the president. We're talking of a system.
So it's bigger than the president?
It's bigger than the president. You're talking of a system. But apparently there's no coordination. Take the National Assembly, for instance. Money is appropriated. Huge sums of money appropriated for security in the country. Does anybody monitor the disbursement of the fund? Yet, you also read stories about generals, making away with hundreds, if not billions of naira. And nobody is taking them to task. I defend soldiers, and they complain to me that we're ready to fight. We're ready to defend the territorial integrity of our country. But we're not armed. The weapons are not there. The equipment is not there. So, does the National Assembly follow up? So it's not enough to say, we have made fund, we provided sufficient fund. And when the presidency says, we've done all that we can, but it means our efforts are not enough. So what do you do in this circumstance?
But in this circumstance too, given the challenge we have with insecurity, in that protest, you said, well, if something is not done, they risk an NSAS-like kind of situation. And then we had a guest yesterday who advised, to you particularly, saying he doesn't think that you should go that route, because if you do, these people will take advantage of it, given the situation that we're in, and it may likely come up worse than expected. Is this something you think?
No, you see, what I was saying was that if care is not taken, if what has become inevitable chaos is not halted, that what may happen to the country may be worse than the NSAS protest. I was not calling for an NSAS protest, but it is the business of the ruling class to prevent the collapse of the country. It's not about me. And I mean, I'm a lawyer. I want to go to court, practice law, right? But you cannot practice law in an atmosphere of insecurity. So that is the issue. It is for the government. It's not, you shouldn't advise me. You should be advising the government. Don't create an atmosphere of chaos that can lead to protests. I mean, we have protests in the past 2 days in the country, organized by the Nigerian Labour Congress. No window was smashed. No door was broken. And that is what we have been advocating for. Allow Nigerians to express themselves peacefully, follow the provisions of the law, particularly Section 83, Subsection 4 of the Police Act 2020, that during protest, the police shall provide security. And that was what was done in the last 2 days. And I want to commend the Inspector General of Police for the approach. And it means we're civilized. We're getting there in that area of our nation.
But you know, when you then speak about the system, because I mean, you look at what's going on and you expect concerted efforts from different parts of the system, the federation, the states, the government, and that doesn't seem to be the case. Why is that failure?
No, you see, when I talk of lack of coordination, frankly speaking, there's so much attention paid to Abuja, whereas the governors are the chief security officers in their states. Security votes running to billions of naira are earmarked for the security of our people. In every state in Nigeria, there is a state security council headed by the governor. All the military, heads of military institutions, police, state security service, all of them are members. And the governors are required, as each of them, as a chair of the committees, to give instructions and provide adequate fund to secure the people in the state. But every time we're talking about security, it's all about Abuja.
We raised this part too yesterday.
It's all about Abuja.
Yeah, we raised this matter too yesterday with Professor Dinkalo, and he thought, no, that's not correct. There's nothing the state governors can do.
No,
they are just CSOs on paper.
No, unlike the armed forces, headed by the president as the commander-in-chief of the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The president is not the commander-in-chief of the police force.
Well, can a governor give a commissioner, for example, an order?
Oh yes, there is the Nigerian Police Council. The president is only the chairman. The 36 state governors are members. And of course, in addition, the Inspector General of Police and the chairman of the Police Council. So in that body of 39 members, 36 of them are state governors. But the body never meets. I have a case in court. Thou shalt meet regularly. Requisition a meeting or meetings to discuss and review the security situation in the country on a regular. No, just a minute. Based on that case in court, the National Assembly included, I think, Section 6 of the Nigerian Police Act 2020. This body shall meet, the Nigerian Police Council, not less than twice a year, and can also meet in emergency situations. But that law was enacted. That law came into force in September 2020. That body has never met. So the governors are required to requisition the meetings of that body on a regular basis. It's a constitutional body established pursuant to Section 153 of the Constitution. And you are talking about instructions. Of course, it's put in the Constitution, that, if there is a problem, the Commissioner of Police may refer to Abuja. And since 1999, I have never heard of a situation where a governor gives an instruction that there is some disturbance in Ikorodu, say Lagos for instance, by Bado boys or whatever you call them, or the 1 million march, 1 million boys. So they are causing problems. So, Commissioner of Police, please go there. I've never heard of a situation where the Commissioner of Police says no. But I can tell you, in the case of Lagos.
Exactly. Because
and in many other states.
The fact that you've never heard does not mean that is not the case.
No, in the case of,
parts.
I think in 2006, when Dr. Chris Ngigi, right, was governor of Anambra State before he was removed by the courts, the Commissioner of Police, with the connivance of the presidential villa there, under President Obasanjo, instigated the Commissioner of Police in that state not to carry out the instructions of the governor. The governor went to court, and the Supreme Court, in the case of AG Anambra State and AG of the Federation, ruled that the governor of a state is in charge of security in that state, and the Commissioner of Police shall comply with all lawful directives of the governor. The only area where a Commissioner of Police may be permitted by law to say, sorry, and I've seen it. If a governor suddenly says, go and arrest my opponent, that has nothing to do with the security of the state, of the country. The Commissioner of Police may rightfully say, please, you better direct your instructions, to Abuja. I'm not going to do that. But to say you are not going to combat crimes in a state, the governor has the right to ask for the removal of the Commissioner of Police. And if it's not removed, you go to court.
Well, Mr. Falana, why do you think this body does not meet regularly?
I think it's part of the carryover from the military. It's part of the dangerous legacies of the military, whereby the president is seen as the chief security officer of the country. And therefore, everybody must kowtow to the presidency. But we have repeatedly maintained that governors must share police powers with the president. That is the provision of the Constitution. In fact, by virtue of Section 216 of that Constitution, an Inspector General of Police cannot be appointed or removed without
the advice of the Police Council. Yes,
the president must consult the Police Council. But what has happened in Nigeria? An Inspector General of Police is appointed or removed, and the governors read about it on the pages of newspapers, like all of us. It shouldn't be so. And that has been the practice since 1999. So if we are talking about security of Nigeria now, we must take advantage of the provisions of the Constitution. That, Mr. President, your police powers cannot be exclusively exercised by you alone. If we are going to, take for instance, the authorities in Abuja decide how many police personnel should man every state. No. This has to be discussed by that council. Because the council under the Constitution shall administer, organize, and supervise the Nigerian police force
So can a governor call for that meeting if the president doesn't call for the meeting?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And an option to that, Mr. Falana, will be the National Security Council. But then the governors are not part of the National Security Council.
That's military, the armed forces, service chiefs, the president, vice president are members. That's why I said the president, under section 218 of the Constitution, is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And my sister, as far as the Constitution is concerned, section 217, the military shall not be involved in the internal security of Nigeria unless there is an insurrection. But what has happened? The armed forces have taken over, have usurped the functions of the Nigerian police force.
Well, some will say it was really just expedient because of the challenges we were facing.
No!
And for the governor and the commissioners.
No, because the police is neglected. Everything we are talking about security now. So how do you get more money for the armed forces? Not the police that is in charge of internal security in our country.
But I think the police gets fair share of the funding as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them commissioning equipment and all of that.
When there is a total breakdown of law and order in the state, if you fund the police, we don't need to bring in the army to deal with armed robbery, kidnapping, and the rest of it.
But terrorism and banditry, can the police take care of that? Because that's majority of what we're faced with now.
In most parts of the world, in most settled democracies, once you equip your police, you only bring in the military on a very rare occasion. Oh, yes. But you again, take for instance, when we're talking of security, it's all about provide more money. That's all. To arm the military. Nobody is talking of security equipment. And I've said it publicly. Lagos is the largest city that I know in the world without CCTV cameras. Abuja is the only capital of a modern state in the world without CCTV cameras.
But I think there are some CCTV cameras in parts of Lagos.
In Abuja, the contract was awarded for $470 million. We are it was a loan taken from China. We are paying the loan. Meanwhile, the money was cornered.
Mr. Fowler, you have identified the challenges across board. So from the lawmakers, the governors, the president. So should we just then impeach all of them? Because everybody has their own responsibility here.
And I think that is the basis of the 6-week ultimatum. It provides an opportunity for all of us to go back to the drawing table and assign responsibilities or ask people to take on and perform their duties under the Constitution and other relevant laws. That's it.
And in that regard, can the governors be invited to a National Security Council meeting if we consider that the IGP is also part of that meeting?
No, Nigerian Police Council. You don't need to involve governors in the Nigerian Security Council meetings. This is their own duty. And do you know?
But the governors are the National Security officers of their states.
You know, the National Assembly members. No. What I'm saying is that in each of the states, there is a state security council. All the heads of security agencies operating in the state are members, and the governor is the chair. Take the National Assembly, for instance, to know where people are not performing their duties. By virtue of section 217 of the Constitution, and there are decisions of the courts to this effect, that the president cannot deploy troops. He cannot deploy members of the armed forces in any part of the country without the approval of the National Assembly. Since 2015, the National Assembly has never called the president to order by drawing his attention to the provision of the Constitution and the decisions of our court. Secondly, since 2015, the president has not declared a state of emergency. Yet, Section 305 of the Constitution has imposed a duty on the president, to declare a state of emergency when there is a breakdown of law and order in any part of the country or in the entire country. Governors are also empowered by that section, right, with the support of the House of Assembly in each of the states to request for a state of emergency. But, mind you, it does not mean when you declare a state of emergency in a state, is to empower the president to adopt extraordinary measures to restore law and order. It does not mean that you must remove the governor of the state and demolish democratic structures like President Obasanjo did when he was in power. And I think that is why people are afraid. But the point I'm making, under Section 305, the president will need the approval of the National Assembly once he declares a state of emergency. But that has never happened since 2015. So it's not about the president alone.
Okay.
Now, everybody, every agency of the government must take their duties very seriously.
Thank you so much, my wonderful viewers, for watching this video together with me from the beginning to the end. Like I said before, if you like what you see here, if you like what I do in this platform, as you have finished watching this video, please hit that red button that says subscribe and put on your notification bell to all notifications. In that way, you'll be able to know when I upload a new video. Share my videos, leave your comments in the comment section constructively. Until I meet your way again in my next video, I still remain your Linda's TV show. Bye-bye.